For years, Porsche told us that real electric performance costs six figures, that the speed, the handling, and the badge were things you could only get by paying their price. And we believed it. Then a company in China built a car that does almost everything the Porsche does, beats it to 60, and costs less than half as much. This is not really a comparison. It is a look at exactly what that Porsche badge has been charging you for. Let's get into it. First, meet the car being defended. The Porsche Taycan starts just over $100,000 in its most basic single-motor form, making around 400 horsepower. To reach the performance the badge is actually famous for, the Turbo S, you are spending north of $200,000. And the flagship Turbo GT, the one with the Weissach package and the four-figure horsepower, asks close to $250,000 for a single car. Strip the crest off any of them and you're left with an electric motor, a battery, and four wheels, the same basic ingredients every EV on Earth is built from. To be fair, the Taycan is a genuinely brilliant machine. It charges at up to 320 kilowatts, going from 10 to 80% in about 18 minutes, which makes it one of the fastest charging cars you can buy in the West. Its chassis is a masterpiece, and nobody who drives one comes away unimpressed. This is not a story about the Porsche being bad. It is a story about the price. Because what does that $250,000 actually buy? A badge earned on a racetrack in the 1950s and coasting on it ever since. A showroom with marble floors. And the quiet agreement that performance this serious is supposed to cost more than most people's homes. Zeekr never signed that agreement. Now the numbers that do the damage. Every one of these is verifiable and every one of them stings. The 2026 Zeekr 001 is built on a 900-volt architecture. That is higher voltage than the Porsche it is about to embarrass. And voltage is not a bragging number. It is the thing that makes fast charging and efficient power delivery possible in the first place. It carries a 103 kilowatt-hour XATL battery capable of 12C charging, which means 10 to 80% in roughly 7 minutes. Hold those two numbers side by side. The Porsche, one of the fastest charging cars in the Western market, needs about 18 minutes. The Zeekr does it in 7. That is barely enough time to walk in, buy a coffee, and walk back out, while the Porsche at the next stall is still drinking. Then the performance. The dual-motor Ultra Trim produces 680 kilowatts, over 900 horsepower, and 925 newton-meters of torque, launching from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.83 seconds. Sit with that. Under 3 seconds is Ferrari territory, the kind of number that 5 years ago demanded an Italian badge and a 7-figure bank balance. Zeekr put it in a full-size family liftback with room for the groceries. And on a single charge, the 103 kilowatt-hour battery is rated at up to 810 kilometers on China's testing cycle, even discounting that number for real-world driving. As you always should with any manufacturer's range claim, it comfortably outlasts the Porsche between stops while costing a fraction to refill. The parts that aren't even on Porsche's spec sheet. Here is where it stops being a close fight. Underneath the Zeekr runs a closed dual-chamber air suspension the company calls its magic carpet. It adjusts ride height across a wide range and reads the road ahead, stiffening and softening faster than you register the bump happened. That is the kind of active body control that used to be the exclusive party trick of 6-figure luxury cars. Then there is the technology up top, and this is the part that should genuinely worry Stuttgart. Every 2026 Zeekr 001 ships standard with the Nvidia Thor-U autonomous driving chip, capable of 700 trillion operations per second, paired with LiDAR and 31 external sensors reading the world around the car. LiDAR is the laser-based sensing that most engineers consider the gold standard for safe self-driving, because it sees in 3 dimensions where cameras only guess. Porsche's flagship electric sedan, the one that can cost as much as a house, does not offer LiDAR at all, so the $38,000 car has a more advanced sensor suite and a more powerful driving computer than the $250,000 one. That is not a small gap. That is a company from a different generation of engineering showing up to a fight the establishment did not know had started. The comparison. The Zeekr press won't say out loud. Park the base Taycan next to the Zeekr. Same segment, same promise. Fast, electric, prestigious. The Porsche starts around $100,000 and makes about 400 horsepower. The Zeekr 001 starts near $38,000. And its top ultra trim makes over 900 horsepower while out-accelerating that base Porsche by more than 2 full seconds to 60. You could buy 2 Zeekrs for the price of one entry Taycan and still have money left over for the electricity that runs both of them for a year. This is the part of the automotive press will not state plainly, because saying it out loud means admitting their advertisers have been overcharging for a decade. Now, in fairness, Porsche does have an answer, and it is a real one. The Turbo GT makes over 1,100 horsepower and cracks 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, which is a genuine engineering achievement and on a stopwatch still quicker than the Zeekr, but it costs well over $200,000 to buy that fraction of a second. Think about what that actually means. To beat the Chinese car, Porsche has to reach for the single most expensive machine it builds. And even then, the victory is measured in tenths. That is not a performance gap anymore. That is a tax on nostalgia, and Porsche is betting its entire flagship strategy that enough people keep paying it. It is true that the Zeekr 001 is a China market car at China market prices, and tariffs and trade barriers mean you will not be buying one in the United States for $38,000 anytime soon. That is the honest caveat, and it matters. But here is the thing, tariffs cannot touch. They can slow the boxes coming off the ship. They cannot slow the 900-volt platform, the 7-minute charge curve, or the LiDAR chip that Porsche's own research department does not currently have an answer for. The walls going up around Western markets are not closing the engineering gap. They are buying time to pretend it does not exist. A tariff raises the price of the Chinese car on paper. It does nothing to make the German car more advanced. And the boardrooms in Stuttgart understand exactly what that means. When a car costing barely a third of your entry price matches the trims that built your reputation, you do not have a product problem you can solve with a software update. You have a pricing model with no engineering left underneath it to justify the number. That is a far harder thing to fix, and no import duty in the world fixes it for them. This is bigger than one sedan and one badge. Every legacy automaker charging 6 figures for a Halo car is now running the same quiet calculation Porsche's engineers are running tonight. How long can the badge outrun the spec sheet before the spec sheet simply wins? For 100 years, premium meant a European crest and a price to match. The Zeekr 001 did not ask permission to challenge that. It just showed up with the numbers already finished while Stuttgart was still deciding what to call its next press release. Would you take the Zeekr over the Porsche? Badge be damned. Drop it in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.